Views from the Valley event. Today, we will be hearing from our local leaders about economic development and opportunities for small businesses in our community. I would like to bring to the stage my fellow board member and today's moderator, Joe Cato. Good morning, Joe. You're on mute.
No?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank
Welcome.
you, Taisha. Hi. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Great introduction, Taisha. And thank you for our viewing audience that has joined us today for Views of the Valley. So let's get right into it because I know you all have busy schedule. So good morning to our esteemed panel.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have good morning. So I will give you each the opportunity to introduce yourself to our viewing audience. And I'll start with you, Shani. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Shani Coleman, Director of Community and Economic Development for Clark County. I'm excited to be here and share with the Urban Chamber and their audience all the exciting things that Clark County has to offer related to small business support.
Thank you. Ryan?
Yeah, good morning. Ryan Smith. I'm the Director of Economic and Urban Development for the City of Las Vegas. And again, echo Shawnee's comments. Thanks so much for having us today and exciting to share all the things that we're working on.
Thank you. Jared?
Thank you, Joe. Thanks to the Chamber and everybody that tuned in today. I know everybody's busy, so I appreciate the time. My name is Jared Luke. I'm the Director of Government Affairs and Economic Development for the City of North Las Vegas. And I echo the comments of everybody else. I'm excited to share a little bit about what we're doing here in our great city and how we're supporting small business.
Wonderful. And Anthony?
Good morning, everybody. And thank you, Joe, for inviting me to be one of the panelists today. My name is Anthony Malloy. I work for the City of Henderson, and I am the Interim Economic Development Director and Manager of the Redevelopment Agency.
Great. Our city and our state is booming. And so let's get into the conversation where please tell us about the steps you're taking to relaunch your county or city economic development plan agenda as part of the Nevada Recovery Plan. Since we are post-pandemic, what is your city doing? And so we'll start with Shani, ladies first. And so we'll have a conversation on this.
Wonderful. Well, I would say Clark County is in a slightly unique position. I was hired just before the pandemic to actually start an economic development department for Clark County. So this is kind of new for Clark County in the sense that we didn't have anything, really anything going on before the pandemic. But what we are doing right now, we have a number of things. One, we recently launched some online tools that we think will be supportive for new businesses and those looking to come into our community. You can visit businessinclarkcounty.com. There are a couple of things on there that we hope make it easy for small businesses that want to be in unincorporated Clark County. There's an opportunity there or a way for those interested in starting businesses or expanding their businesses to verify zoning. So if they're looking at a piece of property and they want to understand if their business is able to operate in a certain location, they now can check that directly online. Another thing that we know it's important are fees. And so on the website, there is a function called a project estimator that will allow small businesses and developers who are interested in being in unincorporated Clark County the opportunity to enter their project and get a list of licenses and permits and the estimated fees that go along with that. So beforehand, they know what they're walking into. And then finally, for people who just want to understand the major projects happening in Clark County, there is a map there that shows current major developments in Clark County, all the way from housing, office. You can click on an icon on the map and it will show you what the actual project is. It'll give you an estimated valuation of that project and some details about that project. For instance, if it's an apartment complex, it will give you the estimated number of units, who's building it, etc. In addition to the online tools that we just developed, we are currently developing a small business support program called the Technical and Economic Assistance Program. Some of you may have seen this earlier. Clark County Commission allocated several $1 million, $10 million. It was for a number of different projects. But what we're going to be doing is providing small businesses with the opportunity to work with a technical advisor to help them understand things that they may need help with in their business, and not just providing them with that technical assistance. We are backing that with financial assistance as well. And so we look forward to having that program available towards the end of the summer. One of our older programs, I think a number of you know about, the Small Business Opportunity Program. We're expanding that program. Previously, it was an in-person class. And in the age of COVID, that became just untenable. And so we're moving that program into an online version or virtual classroom. And with the move to virtual, it gives us the ability to expand the learning opportunities that will be available to small businesses. And so we're looking to have that available in fall. Because it's virtual, we also have the ability to offer that class in English and also in Spanish. So those are just a few things. I'll save things for the rest of the conversation.
Right.
We've got some other things going on, but those are just a few things that are important to, that Clark County believes are important to the small business community here in Clark County.
Okay, so a lot of things is happening in Clark County. Let's hear from North Las Vegas, my community of choice. What is happening there? Once North Las Vegas was considered the fastest growing community in the state. So what's happening in North Las Vegas now?
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, there's a lot going on. If you've been around for a minute in this valley, you know that years ago, North Las Vegas was not in a very good spot. We have since experienced quite the turnaround, and I really can't, the city can't take all the credit for it. It really comes down to the partnership we've had with our small businesses and our local businesses. We've been lucky enough to find great partners in this city that believed in what needed to happen, and we've turned things around. Now, to pay that back or pay it forward, if you will, we've instituted a couple different programs. One is a first of first, our Small Business Connector. We opened it up downstairs in City Hall in partnership with UNLV's SBDC, where small, mid-size, existing businesses that maybe need a little bit of a bump can come in and navigate the ever so complicated and frustrating licensing process. We can connect them with lending services for capital projects. I think at this point, we're somewhere between 400 and 500 businesses that we've helped so far. And this program is just about, I don't even think it's a year old in totality. So we're appreciative of the partnership with UNLV in that program. On top of that, just being innovative and looking to diversify the economy. North Las Vegas for a long time has been, you've heard the term laid out there, kind of a bedroom community. We were the workforce for, the Strip. And so we've changed that. We've adhered to the Brookings Institute's plan that was put out years ago, where there were 6 or 7 different industries that the Valley needed to look at to diversify its economy. And we've really kind of pinpointed on many of those. We've exceeded expectation in the industrial manufacturing field. We're redeveloping finally our downtown. So if you're watching the news and watching the clippings, the Lake Mead corridor, which is that funky little island, we figured out what to do with it. And we're turning the corner down Las Vegas Boulevard. So our Las Vegas Boulevard can kind of be like Shaunie's Las Vegas Boulevard. That project in our downtown is unique in that it's going to be a live, work, play, and we're really focusing on small business, local businesses. There's going to be a component of that project that is small incubator space. It's very difficult for a startup company to go lease 3,500 square feet on a triple net, 3 or 4 or 5 year lease. That's a lot of capital outlay that most small businesses don't have. And so what we've done with the developer on that project is we've put little small 600, 800 square feet. You can get in, get started, barbershop, take your ghost kitchen, actually put it somewhere. And then when you're ready to grow and you've got that business and you've got the P&L and you can forecast, then we'll help you get to a bigger shop. But those are just some of the things that we're doing. And like Shaunie, I'm going to save some of the things because there's some other questions on this list. I don't want to, I'm going to keep some of my powder dry. But I think my biggest thing is I just want to say thank you to our small businesses, because the city would not be where it is right now fiscally if it wasn't for our small businesses and our local partners.
That's correct. And having a small business myself, I do understand the challenges that we face. What's happening in Henderson? Tell us what's going on in Henderson.
Thank you for that, Joe. And it's been great to hear about what's happening in all of the other communities. So in Henderson, something that we realized more than ever during the pandemic was the importance of regional collaboration with other economic development organizations. And in Henderson, we do consistent meetings and touch base with representatives from the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, the Governor's Office of Economic Development, Department of Business and Industry, the SBA, Henderson Chamber, the SBDC, with SCORE, CSN, NSC, and UNLV. The other thing that we are focusing on in Henderson is on the aligning our priorities with Southern Nevada's target industries. And those include general and advanced manufacturing, creative industries, information and communication technologies, business and financial services, healthcare services, as well as clean technology. And the economic diversification is a really important thing for our community and also for our region. And that's why there's so much focus on trying to recruit businesses to come into the community which don't exist now or that don't have great representation. Another thing that we are doing is in West Henderson, we're constructing the Center for Excellence. This is in alignment with the construction of Haas Automotive. We're collaborating with CSN to develop a curriculum that will provide training as well as educational opportunities that will prepare people for employment in advanced manufacturing roles. And when we were working to recruit Haas to this market, that was one of the concerns that they had, was the access to training and education and the supply of employees to their plant. And so this is something that we agreed to do in collaboration with Haas coming in. We're also looking to recruit corporate headquarters into our city. The reason for this is to focus on economic diversification, but also because corporate offices generally will result in the creation of higher paying jobs. And the last thing that we are doing is the consistency of messaging and working with all of our businesses, both large and small. In the downtown redevelopment area, for example, the city has had a relationship with the Water Street District Business Association. This is a group of volunteers that represent the business community throughout the city and which believe that having a healthy and vibrant downtown is important and represents a healthy and viable community as well. We have monthly meetings and we have quarterly entrepreneurial meetings with different topics. We provide monthly educational opportunities for people to come and learn from other small business owners as well as specialists.
You touched on regional collaboration. What were some of the regional collaborations that the City of Henderson worked with the other jurisdictions?
So one is realizing the regional focus on the diversification and those target industries. The other was that we had consistent meetings throughout the pandemic and the recovery to see what was happening in the other communities, to see what best practices they had implemented and the success that they had. We don't believe in recreating the wheel necessarily, so we're always interested to see what's working and what's not. And then also working with the other organizations that focus on business recruitment, business retention, tools to provide our small business owners as well as referrals, such as working with the SBDC, like North Las Vegas has done with SCORE, and then the development of the curriculum with CSN for the Center for Excellence.
That is fantastic. So let's hear from the city of Las Vegas. What do you have cooking over in Las Vegas?
Thank you, Joe. Definitely want to echo everybody's sentiment on the call. I think in economic development, our job is really, one, all of our missions is to diversify the economy. I think we can all agree on that. And a lot of our overlap is also to redevelop blighted areas of the city and then help our local businesses, big or small, grow and provide them opportunities. So I think the government's role is to really create programming that allows that to happen. And right now, I think there's a focus in this panel on what are we doing for small business. And one of the great things is with the American Rescue Plan money, most of that money has to be targeted specifically to small businesses and specifically underserved areas and minority and diverse businesses. So I think there's a huge opportunity right now to really continue to move the needle, one, for economic diversification, and then two, to give what I believe the government's role is more opportunity to small business to help them grow. And so Shaunie went through a whole list of programs, which I think were really good. The city's also looking at, again, hopefully synergistic programs. One of the ones that we're looking at is scholarshiping businesses to get that diverse certification, which will hopefully help them land more government contracts. Even from a corporate social responsibility perspective, a lot of corporations are looking for, ways that they can diversify their vendor portfolio. And I think that capacity building that we're talking about is going to be really, really important. So one is to get that certification so that whether it's the city, the RTC, a corporation knows a vendor is bidding on a contract, they can feel comfortable saying, well, this is a diverse business. This is a business that comes from a historically underserved neighborhood. And so we can really, put preference to give that contract. With that, the city's actually has a DEI leadership committee. We're looking at all our purchasing practices and seeing how we can, but one, getting data into what we're currently doing, and then two, how do we create opportunities in the city to truly give equity over all of our contracts and make sure that we're aligned with what the mission of the city is actually trying to do. So those are some main things. We're looking at a small business loyalty program. I think that big corporations have a really good ability to, use apps and try to get repeat customers, reduce customer acquisition costs, things like that. For small businesses, it's harder. A lot of times they have you'll go in and get like a punch card, and then if you shop 10 times, you get something free. But I think it can be done a little bit better for small business at scale. And so we're looking at seed funding incentive pool there. We're looking at stealing Jared's concept that's worked so well in North Las Vegas to do that within the city. And also, again, I'm in charge of the redevelopment area. And a lot of the businesses, especially the brick and mortar businesses and some of the distressed census tracts, have a harder time protecting their business. There's a lot of, they may get graffiti, they may get windows broken. So we're looking at a business protection program that would help businesses really protect their asset. It also helps the city too, because, the city receives a lot of service calls for issues that happen within some of these areas. And we're trying to, again, redevelop, get some reinvestment, and the businesses themselves face a lot of challenges to do that. So those are some of the main things that we're working on. And again, appreciate the ability to speak.
Ryan, you touched on the minority and diversity programs that you potentially will have in the city of Las Vegas. What role can small businesses play in your specific jurisdiction with COVID-19 recovery plan and related efforts? Because COVID impacted a lot of businesses. So what role with these programs that you just talked about that small businesses can actually play a role in garnering some of these funds and support?
Yeah, so all those programs that I talked about are there to essentially go towards helping local, small, diverse businesses expand, get more contracts, get more revenue, get more employees. Workforce development is a huge thing in the ARPA plans as well. And then also the diversity in our contracts. So what we're using is essentially the model that the city used was, I think, 40% went to affordable housing, 20% went to distressed census tracts, 20% went to small business. I don't know the exact numbers. Some stayed within the city for revenue loss. But essentially that 20% is all going to support local businesses through those programs. Again, the first time the CARES Act money came around, a lot of the jurisdictions, the state government, the city government, the county government just gave business grants. Okay, like, you know, it was get the money out. Businesses are struggling. They need money. There was the PPP program. There was the EDIL program. And then this second tranche of money through the ARP, there's more rules around it. And then two, I think the governments are being a little bit more calculated on how this money is actually going to impact the community. And so again, through the programs that I just mentioned, and the ability for the city to look at our purchasing contracts, those are the biggest opportunities I see. We are doing, and I'll hold off some of the other things, but Jared mentioned ghost kitchens and things like that for F&B entrepreneurs. We're looking at a center in the west side where essentially restaurateurs and entrepreneurs could come in and essentially commercialize their F&B business and then go into a larger brick and mortar store. So a lot of resources. And with that, you know, one of the things that Shaunie mentioned is it's hard for small businesses to figure out exactly, you know, if it's a brick and mortar business, where to locate. So we have a tool called Size Up that I would recommend everybody uses. It's a deep analytics tool, but it's very easy to use, and it's for small businesses. Big companies have, like, you know, huge corporate analytics teams. Small businesses don't. So sometimes when they're looking at where the best business opportunity is for their business, they're kind of left behind from the data and analytics perspective that a big business would have. So we have a tool that helps with that. And then again, just navigating through the government process. I think we all mentioned figuring out, you know, if you're going to have a grease trap, if the zoning's conducive to where you're going, how to get a business license, how to get a state business license. Is there any privileged business license you need? And that takes a lot of technical knowledge and hands-on support. And so the city's actually looking at, in our small business development center, of putting a couple city staff in there to help businesses navigate through that process.
Okay, great. And Shani, for the county, what type of projects or activities do you see happening in the county right now for the next 5 to 10 years?
Wow, that is such a broad question. I mean, the county is so large. So we have urban Clark County, which everybody knows, the Strip, that area, but we also have our rural communities, and you know, like things happening. And I think there are some exciting things happening in our rural communities, like in Moapa Valley. We have a dentist who is looking to build a pediatric dental clinic in Moapa Valley. And the reason why things like that are exciting, because a lot of times we don't think about, okay, they're in Clark County, there are people who live outside the urban area. And a lot of times those folks drive into the urban area to work because that's where the jobs are. And with creating opportunities in our smaller communities, we actually create jobs. So we're really excited about this pediatric dental clinic that's happening. Obviously, in the urban area, there's a lot of things going on. You know, Dream Hotel just announced that they're going to be building on the Strip. Some things that we're focused on in Clark County, we are in the midst of, or we're starting the conversation about the development of our innovation zone, working very closely in partnership with Harry Reid Tech Park and Switch on that and what that will be. And we think there's some great opportunities there to drive technology focus and innovation in the Valley, as my colleagues have talked about, diversifying our economy. And, to that end, some other things that, we've partnered with Startup NV and Startup Vegas, which focus on helping people, entrepreneurs, with developing their product and their service. But in this particular instance, Clark County is developing and working on programs that are focused on women and people of color, right? We want to make sure that that entrepreneur landscape is available to everybody, and there's equity in that. And so we'll be focusing on that. And obviously that will tie in to some of the things that we're looking at in our technology and innovation district.
Fantastic. And I would pose the same question to the city of North Las Vegas and Henderson. I'll start with North Las Vegas. Jared?
Thanks, Joe. 10 years, like Shaunie said, that's I could joke and say I'm just getting started. And so I'll tell you what we've got on the ground, planned, ready to go, and kind of where we're heading. Obviously, I think Apex is the elephant in the room. Everybody's heard of it. They know kind of what it is, but I'll be honest with you, until you actually drive out there and get lost, you don't know exactly what it is. I keep trying to convince the city manager to put four-wheelers in my budget so I can give people adequate tours of Apex, but I keep getting shot down on that. But North Las Vegas is the largest majority city in the state. And so the goal for my department, the goal for the city, is to make sure that over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, that the residents of North Las Vegas have the same toys as everybody else. So starting Apex, the numbers just came out at the beginning of this year. The projected numbers for Apex is over the next 10 to 20 years, you're going to see about $7.4 billion in investment, which will create roughly 72,000 jobs. You come down around the corner up the 215, and we're going to do a ground break, I believe, in September on our medical campus. It's 135 acres right on the corner of Pecos and the 215, adjacent to the VA hospital. You're going to see a hospital. You're going to see clinical trial space. You're going to see R&D space. You're also going to see, and this is, for North Las Vegas residents that have lived out there and have to walk 5 miles to the nearest fast food restaurant or gas station, we're going to have sit-down restaurants. There's going to be 2 hotels. You're going to have retail options. That's happening. That's a 8 to 10 year project, roughly $4 to $5 billion in investment. Come to my downtown, and I mentioned it earlier, the downtown redevelopment, it grows. We started with 20 acres. It's now become almost 30 acres. And then, there's a handful of developers that have kind of caught what we're trying to do here, and they want in. They're looking for land. They're looking for blighted buildings, as Ryan said. What can we redevelop? It's kind of caught on, and people are excited about it. And so in the next 10 years, you're going to see a totally different downtown, North Las Vegas. It's going to actually look like a downtown should. You're going to have a medical campus that's going to just wait till the ground break. Joe, I'll send you some pictures of what's coming. I can't get everything out. It's going to be amazing. And then on top of that, we're working on with the BLM on all of our other disposal boundary land right now to try and get some different type of residential offerings, some commercial offerings where we can start attracting corporate relocations. The goal, like I said, is to make sure that everybody in this town has the same toys as everybody else, and we have the same opportunities for employment, and not just jobs, Joe. That's the thing. We can go out and we can throw up 100 different places that give you a job at a minimum wage. We're looking for career sustainable options for folks that, next time we have a bump in the economy, they don't wonder if they're going to be able to pay their mortgage or, put food on the table for their kids. And so that's our 10-year plan, if you will. And that's what to look forward to. And it's happening already.
So with that 10-year plan, there's a lot of opportunity for small business owners like myself and the viewing audience that is watching today. In Henderson, tell us what's happening in Henderson, the plans.
So in Henderson, we are seeing much of the same that Shani is talking about, that Jared is talking about, that Ryan is talking about. We see an increased or a continued interest in the construction of industrial space. That's really driving much of the new construction in our city. Right now, we have 1.3 million square feet of industrial space that will open in the next few months, and then we have another almost 6 million square feet of industrial space that's planned to come online as well, and that's in the entitlement process. In Henderson, right now we have about a 1.2% vacancy for industrial space, so that's really one of the hot things in the economy. But we're also very sensitive to what's happening with the water and ensuring that as we attract businesses for those industrial spaces, that they're not high water users. That's something that's a priority for our community. We also see interest in the energy industry, especially from European companies, which is very interesting to me. But we're working with companies from Scotland, from Italy, from Turkey, Spain, and France. And it's just amazing that these companies that are located in Europe have found Henderson. But we're really excited that they are interested in our community. We're also very interested in research and development types of industries because they tend to pay higher wages. And that's something that we also want to continue. And we're seeing a lot of interest from California-based businesses still to relocate and leave that market. And of course, that's part of the geography. We're really close to California. Their employees, if they choose to relocate, can go back and see their families fairly easily. But as we see economic diversification happening, I think that looking forward, we're going to see the need to provide educational and training resources. And that's something that we're focusing on and how we can develop those partnerships and relationships, not just through the Center for Excellence in West Henderson, because that will have a limited capacity to provide that training. We're looking at how else we can partner with the colleges to provide those training resources to prepare our residents to move into these jobs as the economy does diversify.
Wonderful. So what advice or business tips do you have for our Urban Chamber members that are in the rooms and our visiting audience that is watching this panel today, View from the Top? What business tips or advice would you have for us today? And that's for you, Anthony.
So I would say that they need to be resilient. They need to be monitoring what's happening in the economy and be positioned that they can pivot and make the choices that will sustain their businesses. If something is not working in their business, look and see what they can do to make their business be successful. Meet and network with other business owners throughout the community and see if you can cross-market, cross-promote your business. Referral programs, social media. I know that from experience that whenever I travel, I go onto Google and I say, hey, what are the best restaurants? What are the best places to eat? The experience, right? People are looking for experiences. Good food, for example, is really important, but the experience that you have when you go there is equally as important. So for me, it doesn't matter how great the food is. If I have a bad experience with the employees, for whatever reason, I'm reluctant to go back. But social media is really important. And if you provide quality service, consistent food that's of a good quality, if you're in food and beverage, people will find you no matter where you're at. So whether you're on St. Rose Parkway in Henderson or the Las Vegas Strip or on Water Street in downtown Henderson, which until probably 5 years ago, people did not even know that Water Street existed or where it was. That's what people will look for, and they'll travel to find you to get those experiences and the positive things that they need in their lives. No matter what it is, whether they're looking for services, whether they're looking for products. And right now we're in a very unusual economy. People are concerned with what's happening, rising interest rates, supply chain issues. And so I think that you need to spend more time on thinking into the future and to see what you need to be successful.
Okay, thank you. Jared, you touched on the 10-year plan in North Las Vegas. Is North Las Vegas actively recruiting small, diverse businesses to participate in the economic projects and activities that you have planned for North Las Vegas?
Yeah, I mean,
And
that's the whole point of
so,
it.
yeah. And if
Right?
so, can you give us an update on where you are with that now and how our businesses can also participate?
Yeah, I think my answer is going to be answering your question, but kind of also answering your previous question. If you're a
Mhm.
small business, you're curious enough and you've got the moxie to put something together and grow something, and put your name out there. My advice, Anthony said a lot of the really good things you need to look at, but I would say go get it. Just do it. Um, Make sure you know your market and get after it. Look at what the tools are. Ryan's going to steal my small business connector. I think I'm going to meet him down at the river. We'll do some bartering because there's some stuff he said that I really think is awesome. But um, I think you got to get after it, figure out where you want your business to be, make sure that's going to make you money, and then be curious and go. Are we helping small businesses? Yes. Everything that I just mentioned, all of my 10-year plan, 15, 10, 20-year plan is surrounded by trying to figure out how to help local businesses, minority owned businesses get a shot at being successful. You can come to the Small Business Connector. You can come work with my team in the Economic Development Department. You can come meet with mayor and council. They're smart folks that will help you especially if you're going to be in their ward. They'll do what they can to instruct me and the rest of the staff to figure out how to help you get where you need to be. But it starts there. Ryan said some really awesome things about CARES dollars and ARP. Yeah, those dollars all went to small businesses. I mean,
Right.
those dollars went to the back pockets of the residents with the goal of continuing the partnership that has turned North Las Vegas into what it is now. But before we get to that, Joe, we've got to have the services available to attract those small businesses. North Las Vegas doesn't have a general services hospital right now, which is hard to believe of a city of 272,000 people. So we're building that. So we're trying to kind of build the framework and the foundation so that when more small businesses come into our town, and we're not just looking to attract more businesses from outside of North Las Vegas. The goal is to, Econ 101. Let's grow what we already have on the ground. You need to expand. You need help. Let's figure out how to make that happen for you. So a mixture of the two, attracting from the outside, but also focusing on growing the businesses that are already on the ground in North Las Vegas, but at the same time providing the services and all of, like I said before, the toys, so that those small business and those entrepreneurs and those forward thinkers, those innovators feel comfortable being in this city and know that their kids are going to have a good school. Their families are going to have a hospital. All of those things that go into that decision-making process of where am I going to start my business? That foundation is laid.
Okay. Thank you, Jared. Ryan, you touched on a lot previously on my previous question, but what I'd like to ask you this go round is for the diverse small business that you mentioned, and of course I'll mention that again. How are you actively recruiting those small businesses in your business model? Are you working like the city of North Las Vegas, grow within and then attract from outside? Or so what is your model on that? Can you hear me? I think you're on mute. Ryan is on mute. I th- yeah. I think you're on mute. Delissa, can you assist us? We are all on mute. Technical difficulties, it happens. So I think they want me to wrap up, right? I think it's the Oscars, and they're like, Joe, you're going too much. So cut that
I can
mic.
hear you now. I think it was actually my computer.
Okay, so I'll have you answer that question, and then we'll wrap up with contact information.
Sounds good. Again, apologies. I'm pretty sure it was my computer that was doing
Okay.
that. But back to your question, what is the city doing? We are trying to. We have a that development agency has a requirement.
I think we're still having technical difficulties. Delissa, can you assist us? Okay. I think we're having some technical difficulties. So what I will do, I will start wrapping up. And so, what is the best way? And I'll present this question to each and every one of you. And thank you so much for joining us today. What is the best way for chamber members to follow up with you after this panel discussion?
I'm happy to start.
Yes, go ahead.
As I mentioned earlier, Clark County has a new website dedicated to economic development support for small businesses and developers. It is businessinclarkcounty.com. And so if you go to that website, there's contact information, there's an email address, there's a phone number where you can reach out to someone on my team, and we'll get back to you with any information. Obviously, there's a lot of information on the website. Like I said, those 3 tools there, the zoning verifier, the project estimator, and the map of current projects. But there is contact information on the website, businessinclarkcounty.com.
Okay, Ryan. My thing just went. Ryan, can you hear me? That's for you? Okay, let's go with Jared. What's the best way to contact you?
Thank you, Ms. Joe. Same thing as Shaunie, get on my website, cityofnorthlasvegas.com. You can, I don't know, Ken, is there a way for you to grab all of our contact information and post it out? I can tell everybody my email right now, but call me or contact me directly, get on the website, and you can find my direct contact information there, and go take a look at everything that we're doing in the development sphere. But LUKEJ at cityofnorthlasvegas.com. Shoot me an email and we'll try and help you out.
And we'll post it in the chat. And Anthony, Perfect. Your contact information. And before we close out this session, we're going to opening up to the floor to answer a few questions before we leave. But Anthony, provide us with your contact and we will add that to the chat.
So I put in the chat my email address.
I see it.
And my phone number is, my direct line is 702-267-1511. People can also go to the cityofhenderson.com website. If they're interested in the Water Street District in downtown Henderson, we also have a waterstreetdistrict.com website. And if people are looking, we don't have a really cool tool like Size Up that Las Vegas has. We're kind of old school still. But if somebody's interested in locating their business in Henderson, they can call up. Our staff will be happy to work with them and help them through the whole process with from finding a place to put their business through all of the licensing and entitlement process as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Delissa, do we have any questions for our esteemed panelists? I think
we are opening the floor now for questions.
Okay.
I will type them in the chat.
Okay.
If we get any.
So I'll be watching the chat for these questions. Technology, has been great since 2020. We're still having a learning curve, but we're getting better.
Miss Joe, before questions come in, I just want to say you did a great job. Killed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I get very excited as a small business owner myself when I talk about business and what we can do to expand our business, and there's technical assistance available and what opportunities are available out there for us to expand. And we talked about pivoting, and people who knows me knows that I pivot a lot. And so especially in this environment, we have to be adaptable, and with what's happening in each and every one of the jurisdiction is really exciting for us. So we have no questions. Come on, somebody ask a question. I know Shondell is there and he always has questions. That guy never has a question. And
that means we did a really good job of explaining all of the wonderful things our jurisdictions are doing to support small business. So congrats to everybody on the panel.
Congrats
We had
to
one
everyone
question come in.
Okay.
If I have a business in advanced manufacturing, what are the opportunities available?
Endless. Come talk to me. I got 18,000 acres. I can find you a spot.
And then we have another question for Jared. He said he's sorry if he missed this, but can you update us on the next steps for the medical campus? What will it mean for economic development?
It's going to change North Las Vegas entirely to have a regional medical campus that focuses on R&D. So the groundbreak we are working on right now looks like it's going to be in September. Per the development agreement we negotiated with the development firm, the Pacific Group, they'll have shovels on the ground January of 23. So they're not waiting. It's not a land hold. This project is happening, and we're pushing to make it happen as fast as humanly possible. There's planning and some things that have to happen first, but yeah, we're moving forward. So stay tuned in September. You'll start seeing postings in the RJ and other news articles and social media about the groundbreak ceremony that'll be happening then.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank each and every one of you from each jurisdiction for this opportunity for me to ask these questions and to share with our viewing audience the opportunities and what's happening in each jurisdiction. Is very exciting. And as a small business owner, I look forward to see the growth for the next 5 to 10 years. And hopefully I, as well as all the viewing audience, will be able to participate in these opportunities. Thank you so much for joining. And I'll turn it over to Jaren and Delissa for the next segment. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, you. Everybody. Bye. Have a great day.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Jaren.
Shondell, how are you doing, brothers? Good to be with you today.
Oh, it's always great, man. Hey, I didn't think everybody could see me because it said I wasn't viewed by anybody but the host.
Right, we were on. We were
Okay.
actually hidden.
So when Joe called me, I was like, I don't even think I'm in there.
Not yet. They held us on ice for a minute.
I'm good with that. I was good. I was eating me some snacks and everything. It's all good, brother. So how we doing this? Is like conversational on these questions?
Very much so, yeah.
Okay. So will there be any new programs, services incorporated? Is that for you, or am I asking you these questions, or I don't know how this goes.
I think it's for both of us.
Oh, somebody else is asking?
No, we'll just have a conversation about
it. Gotcha.
So similar to that fireside chat discussion we had.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're ready to go.
We're ready to go?
Yes.
Cool.
The audience is watching.
Right on. Let's do it.
Yeah. But first question, I think they want us to introduce ourselves, kind of talk a little bit about what our roles are on the board currently. I think that's a good point to start off with. If you want to jump us off.
Sure. You know what? I'm still the current chair of the Urban Chamber of Commerce. And this is exciting because this is the first time ever the Urban Chamber has done a chair elect. And one of the things that I'm really excited about, I'm Shondell Newsom, the chairman of the board for the board of directors for the Urban Chamber of Commerce. And this is really exciting because this is the journey for our next generation. Jaron will introduce himself as the chair elect. One of the reasons why we went to a chair elect setup is because we wanted to have a smooth transition. Unlike our country that has this kind of rocky transition going on right now, we wanted to have a smooth transition. We wanted to have some continuity. We wanted to have succession, and we want to have success with all of that. So that is really my position as the chairman is for the past 5 years was to keep the board focused on our 5 strategic goals. And really, I'm not going to go in depth on our strategic goals, but I just that's really what the board is supposed to do. And the board is about governance. So what we did is we changed some of the bylaws to make sure we had a chair elect. We also restructured the bylaws as the board so that we had a diverse board. Now, some people say diverse has to do with ethnicity. Diverse actually has to do with synergistic. Diversity to us is not always about just having a male, female, African American, Hispanic. It really was about the synergy. So we wanted somebody expert in education. We wanted people with expert in accounting, people expert in legal matters, people expert in banking and finance, like Jaron is. So we wanted to make sure that we had a diverse. We couldn't do that with an open election because an open election that we had before was really all about popularity, who you liked. And sometimes the people, when we had the members choose people that they liked, it wasn't always beneficial for the members, and it wasn't always beneficial for the community, because we had to have this diversification that we have now. We have people in healthcare, we have people in energy, we have people all in different spaces of expertise, which makes our board a lot stronger. And quite frankly, it's easier for the president now to reach out and do his job because he can utilize all of his board members in different spaces to provide expertise and advice back to him. So really, I want everybody to understand that a board is supposed to be diverse, and the board is supposed to be dealing with governance and dealing with vision. And one place where I got that from was the U.S. Black Chamber School of Chamber Management about 12 years ago when I attended out in Washington, D.C. I came back with a pamphlet and a booklet that talked about successful boards. So that's when Jerry Merritt, the chair at the time, was gracious to allow us to implement a lot of those things. And it was painful. It was painful because people were not used to that structure. So that's how we got to where we are right now. And that was my role. My role was definitely about making sure that we had the right structure. And then we had to bring in a president and hire a president. So that was the function of the board. But we are not operational. That's very important for everybody to know that I don't deal much in operations. We approve different things, but operations is run by the president. So with that, I'll pass it along to a chair elect. And let me just say this before I pass it along to Jaron. Jaron and I have known each other for a long time, but this process of him becoming the chair elect wasn't a popularity contest either. Am I very fond of him? Absolutely. Did I mentor him for many years? Absolutely. But it was his peers who chose him, and I did that on purpose. I stood back and let his peers choose him. They just happened to choose a spectacular young man who I admire and know that he's going to do an exceptional job. So it all happened organically, which I'm very, very, very proud of.
I appreciate that. And I always tell people when Shondell speaks, it's somewhere in between a preacher and someone else, because there was a lot to unpack with that one answer. He said do an intro there, but just having fun with them this morning. But I'm glad to have you, brother. I appreciate you saying those kind words about me. Once again, my name is Jaron Gray. I am the chair elect for the Urban Chamber. Basically, what that means is I will be the chair come January 2023 for the board. And I think Shondell kind of gave us the rundown. What is the intention of the board? We were very intentional about how we structured our board, very intentional about having this plan of succession planning, and making sure that the next man up, that we didn't always have it to be a personality contest. We don't want the Urban Chamber to be personality driven. Whether I'm in the seat or someone else, we have a mission that we're trying to accomplish. We have strategic goals that we have in place, and we have a plan to accomplish those goals. That's not going to change whether it's me, Shondell, or anyone else sitting in the seat. So I think that's very important for everyone to understand. And Shondell said, my background is in the banking world. And I have a lot of people that have a stamp on me right now, from the Jerry Merritts to the Shondell Newsoms, the Ken Evans of the world. My late friend Tyrone. There's so many people that have a stamp on me to make sure that I got into this seat. And I'm just glad to have their support, and I'm glad to be able to have a board that supports me and wants us to be successful. And we're looking forward to the next echelon that we're going to go into.
Thank you. Yes. And then I think like the next question here is like talking about new programs and services incorporated at the Urban Chamber of Commerce. One of the things, and I'll let Jaren and I can kind of split this, but one of the things that we are focused on is value. Value to our members, value to the community. And I was telling that to somebody this morning, that you don't have to be a member of the Urban Chamber of Commerce to get a lot of value from the Urban Chamber of Commerce. Now, with that being, what that means is membership has its privileges, and membership means you get more value, much more value. We pay more attention to you. We give you specialized services like a VIP service. If you're not a member of the chamber, we do put you out to we do give you to our resources, which is our resource partners, to help you, whether it's financial literacy, loans, education as an entrepreneur, which is very, very important. Everybody is not an entrepreneur. So we specialize in making sure that you get your ducks in a row, right? Delisa, that's one of the programs that she has done a great job in putting out there. Really, our goal is to make sure that you can eliminate all the barriers to being a great business. And we do focus on small and minority businesses and the needs. The other thing is advocacy. That's the biggest thing that we do as a chamber. The upcoming legislative session, we're on a biannual, every other year we have a legislative session. So your Urban Chamber of Commerce will be in Carson City, making sure that you have all of the opportunities for success. So for example, fuel revenue indexing in the past, giving opportunities for our contractors. SB1, giving opportunities for all of our small businesses to participate in the convention center, and also can participate in the stadium. But in addition to the stadium, I just want to make sure everybody knows how this works. We were part of the NFL draft. We're going to be part of the upcoming Super Bowl. So all of these things that we've done is a part of the programs and services. And I'll let Jaren talk about more specific, because my mind always goes to some of the legislative things that we do while we're working with our legislators.
Yeah, definitely. And you kind of hit the nail on the head. We have so many staple programs that are already in place. Shouts out to Delisa and her staff on what they've done from a programming standpoint. I think that's been our biggest value add to the small business community, is the programming that is provided by the chamber. And like I said, Delisa heads that up, and she's been a great catalyst for making sure that we maintain those programs, things like ducks in a row. We're talking about capital connections, contract connections. Those programs are our staples that we want to continue. We started talking about the business pitch competition, gives our small businesses a platform to grow. We've given out scholarships and things at those different events. But from new programming, what new programs we're going to try to put in place? I mean, there's so many. I mean, from a standpoint of, the planning we've been doing, because this is a transition year for us. But that transition means it's an opportunity for us to grow as well. So as we're looking at the future plans and, where we're going with different positions, our role, how our roles are going to change with the board. When we start talking about programming, how programming gets thrown in there, I mean, programming is always evolving because our small businesses always have different needs. I think the panel talked about it very well from the standpoint of our small businesses are going to face challenges. I mean, it happens all the time, right? We remember 2008, we remember 9/11. we remember all these different things that happen. So our programming has to be as progressive as those different situations come at us. Who would have known we would have faced a 2-year pandemic? You start talking about the EIDL and the advocacy work that we did to make sure that so many of our small businesses qualified for those loans, and not only qualified, but knew how to apply. And then you start talking about even the chamber itself being qualified to get some of those funds. So when you start talking about a programming and new programming, without being too specific, because I don't want to get ahead of ourselves until we kind of implement those things. But yes, there's definitely new programming coming in place. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but if you haven't heard, we have taken ownership of the building. That's a great asset for our community. And not only that, but what we can do from a programming standpoint by owning that asset.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'll shift from programming to value. Here's what I want. Here's what I want the members to understand. We bring a ton of value from this perspective. Right now, we're preparing for the impending recession. A lot of the economic forecasts say that we're going to go through a recession. So your urban chamber actually, even prior to the pandemic, we were already in place to have solutions put in place with the SBA, with our congressional leaders, with our state leaders. What I need you guys to understand is the true value is not just in the programs. The programs are great. The networking is great, but really us being a sort of a forecast for you and then bringing you into the future and providing you with that business advice that can help you move forward. And this dovetails into the next question. How do we get new ideas from current members and new prospective members? It's about you getting involved. It's a real simple answer. You being on the committees, you coming to the meetings and not just showing up to Coffee and Commerce or these type of events, but it's your chamber. And the more you get involved and the more you volunteer, that's how the chamber grows. The chamber has grown and came up with these different programs because of its members, not the board, not the president. And Delisa implements those ideas, but it all comes from the members. The more members get involved, the better the programming becomes. Jared.
Absolutely. And I'll say this because, once the board had actually made the decision to make me the chair elect, I made it a pointed effort to make sure I was going to touch as many small business members as I could in this time frame as we go through this transition period. So I've made it a point to show up to Coffee and Commerce. I've made it a point to show up to Direct Connect. I want to meet our small businesses where they're at and then really ask them those poignant questions like, what do you expect of us? What is that ROI that you're looking for from us? Because we talk about return on investment. We expect our business owners to go out and have a return on investment, right? If they buy a new printer, they buy a new computer, what's the ROI? So we have to be intentional about that as well. So I've made it a point to make sure to touch as many as we can and really add that value piece, like you said. And many people don't know this. I started as an intern with the chamber. I was an intern, and then I sat at the committee level and went from the committee level into the board position. I was, previously the treasurer, now in my current role. So those things are intentional. We have to be involved as small business owners to get the value that we want out of the chamber. And I think you made the biggest point there.
Yes, absolutely. And then I think the other one, somebody's asking the question, do we see any industry trends that are impacting the chamber? Some of the industries, let's talk about infrastructure, because this is real important. Infrastructure is bigger than construction. I know everybody think infrastructure mean roads and highways and bridges and all of that, but it's also information technology. It's medical advancement. It's water. Water is a big deal right now in our valley. Water. Oh my God. So if you have any of those industries that you're involved in and you want to make an impact, this is where you can get involved. And all you have to do is really check out the Governor's Office of Economic Development and look at their industry focus. And a lot of the folks on the call previously from the different municipalities gave you some insight into what they're working on, and you'll see some of the industries that are impacted. Now, that doesn't mean like if construction is growing that you don't have an opportunity. And I'll give you an example, not necessarily our business, but there's a lady who owns a photography company that is focused on drones and viewing construction sites and taking photos of in the construction space. If your business is focused on something like that, then you can be in the construction industry. You don't have to necessarily be a construction firm. So you got to be creative. And you, to use our example, we do a lot of public engagement, public involvement on a lot of these construction projects. So as a marketing firm, we're not just doing logos and websites and stuff like that. We're doing a lot of outreach in that space. So you got to get creative in looking at the industry trends and seeing where it's going, and then get your business involved. But those are some of the trends I know that are happening right now throughout the Valley.
Yeah, and I think we've seen it over the last couple of years, right? Businesses are having to reinvent themselves. Look at the Strip. It's gone from purely gaming and gambling to now they're having experiential things. They want you to have a great experience when you come to the property. It's not just about sitting at a table game or what have you. So if these huge corporations are seeing those trends and saying, okay, things are changing, we as small business owners have to do the same thing, right? We have to come back and say, okay, we see those trends coming. I mean, something like the banking industry, rates are going up, right? How are rates going to affect your borrowing decisions? How are rates going to affect your saving decisions? You know, those things are important to start thinking about and putting things in perspective. I think we have to have historical context a lot of times, right? You gave us a little bit of history of the chamber when we started the conversation. Having that historical context actually helps a lot when you start talking about what are the trends coming up. So just keeping that in mind, you know, back in the day, you get a mortgage for 20%. It wasn't, you didn't even bat an eye, it was 20% interest rates, but the home cost you 100,000 versus, you know, what the average home price is now. So different landscape, but just keeping those things in mind as we start talking about what trends are.
Yeah, paying attention to those things. And then, you know, I know Jaron, probably this is more for you with the Urban Chamber going the next 3 and 5 years. One of the things that I can definitely assure you is that the Urban Chamber is a new chamber, very, very advanced, very forward thinking, very engaged with everything, not just Nevada, but also nationally and globally. I can tell you that our global objectives started years ago, so I know we're going to continue on those trends. Nationally, as you see, we were at the U.S. Black Chamber School of Chamber Management, so we're keeping our finger on the pulse. But I want people to be clear that we're very universal, and that's by design, because, and many people have asked us this question, so I'm gonna kill the elephant in the room right now. Does the Urban Chamber support Black-owned businesses? That's our core of what we were founded on. But as the Valley grew, as the world grows, as everything else grows, that doesn't mean that we're not here to support other small and minority businesses that have the same issues as those Black-owned businesses. And that's what we understand. We don't get pigeonholed into we're just going to deal with these specific. We're dealing more in a global manner, because that's where the world is. That's where the world has grown to. And Jaron is a native of Las Vegas and a native of Nevada. So is my wife. And the Valley has grown. We can't keep our mindset in a small vacuum while the rest of the Valley is growing, as you guys have seen with the different municipalities. So that's what the chamber is all about, is staying engaged, staying involved, and staying in the space where we are always connected to what happens in the business community. So, Jaron.
Yeah, I think it's important to think about the fact that, you know, like you said, as the Valley's grown, the Valley's changed. I don't, you know, I'm going to throw our weight around a little bit. I'm going to say we as a chamber have the ability to be more flexible than, say, some of our counterparts, right? And that flexibility, those relationships we've built have made us a great business advocate. You know, we say it all the time, we are your business advocate, but what does that really mean, right? That means we have the ability to pick up the phone and have a conversation with someone in Congress. We have, you know, our state senators have our ear, you know, and that flexibility of not having to go through a lot of red tape has made us a very nimble chamber. And I think that's the value we add to small businesses. So when a small business comes to us and say, hey, I'm having trouble getting through to the city, I don't know who to talk to. Boom, we've got Ryan, we've got Jared, we've got these people we can pick up the phone and say, hey, where do we direct this person to? How do we get them to the right contact? And it's not just about going to a website or what have you. I think Jared was making the point like, hey, I'm easy to get a hold of. And that's because of the nimbleness of our chamber, right? We can do those kind of things. And someone as a small business owner knows that. It says, okay, I'm going to call the chamber and say, who's my contact? And you made the point about talking about the board, right? The intentionality of how we built our board, the connections that we have there, the resources we have there. When you talk about a Dr. Zaragoza, you talk about a G3 Electrical or Darnisha Mingo with Mingo Health Services. There's so many different things that we can rely on when we say we need to pick up the phone and get some things done. I think that's the value that we add as a chamber.
No, I think that's a great transition in a lot of ways, Jaron, because Ken asked a question: what role could the UCC play in upcoming elections? Is that advocacy important for our small businesses? It absolutely is, right? First of all, our role in elections is to focus on the business needs and the needs of our members. We do that specifically so we have a focus, right? Because a lot of people want us to dance in other waters, and we're here to support the small and minority business interests. We're here to support you if you need access to capital. We're here to support you if you need programming. We're here to support you if you need laws to change so that makes it easier for you to do business. So our focus when it comes to being an advocate, when it comes to small businesses is really on a large platform from the federal elections on down to the state, down to the local municipalities. We do a ton of advocacy, and we get involved in so many different things. And what you have to do as a small business member is tell us please what we need to do. I was getting to that, Ken. One of the things that is real important for you to understand is we are nonpartisan in nature and bipartisan when necessary. What does that mean? We do not select whether you're a Democrat or Republican. We care about the issues that you're going to address when it comes to our members and when it comes to the ability to do business. And then when we're bipartisan, what are we talking about? We're talking about what I just discussed when it came to the stadium, when it came to the convention center, when it came to the fuel revenue indexing, when it comes to lending, when we were talking about access to capital. We make sure that we get along so that we can our focus is relationships so that we get the results that we want. So we're not fighting, we're not confrontational, but we are aggressive and we are opinionated, which is different. We're not trying to be confrontational. We're trying to be cooperative, and that's how we got where we are with the Governor's Office of Economic Development. And I'll make this last point, Jared. Do you guys realize that we have been working with the Governor's Office through whether it was Brian Sandoval, who's a Republican, or our current Governor Sisolak, who's a Democrat. The Urban Chamber of Commerce have worked with both administrations very effectively because we have that mindset.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like you said, Ken had put it in the chat, but we just want to reiterate the point. We don't endorse candidates. We care about the issues. So if those issues matter to our small business owners, that's what we're going to be aggressive about. And what I would ask is, we're not always privy to everything going on in every industry. We're not going to know about every bill that's coming up. We're not going to know about every legislation we have to pay attention to. But if it's important to our small business owners, we will put the wheels in motion to make sure things get done. So that's what we always ask. Like I said, we want the feedback from the members. We want feedback from people that are not members. Come to us and bring those issues. And we're an easy group of people to get a hold of. I don't think any of us are hiding out. So definitely we can make things happen if we need to get a machine behind it and make those things happen.
So and we'll take more questions if people I think Delisa said we have a few minutes to take some more questions if you have questions. But as you can see, Jaron and I are very much aligned. We didn't have to rehearse this. We're very much aligned on where the chamber is going. And I want people to understand that the Urban Chamber of Commerce, we have a slogan: we build businesses to build our community. And we are very much focused on building multi-million-dollar businesses, because we know that the resources that comes from a multi-million-dollar business is plentiful, and we're trying to impact employment. We're trying to impact economics. We're trying to impact our neighborhoods, and we can't do that if our businesses are not able to expand and grow and be flexible. So that's why we have this strong focus. And I know it's not popular with everybody that we have a strong focus on business, and we got strong alignments. The LVGEA used to be the Nevada Development Authority. So we got great relationships with the LVGEA. We got great relationships with the Vegas Chamber. We don't always agree with them. Let me get this straight. We don't always agree with everything, but we always agree to disagree. And then we go in and we make sure that the interests of our members are supported. So that's what's real important for people to understand.
I think Ken had another question because we mentioned how now we own the building. So what are the plans to go from a business incubator, which we currently do, to being what we would consider a global accelerator?
You take that, future man.
Yeah. So definitely, we've already put the wheels in motion, but that is the plan, to go from being just an incubator. What we mean by a global accelerator, right? So we've just within the enterprise, we now have the Business Success Center. Within the Business Success Center, that's our programming arm, our fundraising. We're doing a lot of activity, but also the Business Success Center owns the building. So with having that in place, now we can have one-stop shop for programming, resources. We envision this to be a great, like, WeWork incubator type space where you can have what I like to call natural collisions, right? If I'm sitting here with a graphic designer, I have a marketing firm, and we need to meet just because we were in the same space. What kind of business can actually take place in that global accelerator? So that's what we're talking about. We want to have a space where we can have those natural collisions that take place and really drive business. Because sometimes it's not easy to get out everywhere and be everywhere, but when you're always in that space, it makes it a lot easier. And really moving technology forward. We're going to be adding fiber to the building. We're going to be improving the technology within the building, even from the standpoint of being able to work virtual and all those kinds of things. So that's the plan going forward, and we've got an opportunity to get some government grant funds to do that. But like I said, owning this asset is just going to be so pivotal, and it's a great asset, not just for us as a chamber, but for our community. What it really means for us to own and control that asset is a big deal.
You know, that's great, Jaron. And it goes into the next thing. How did we get to this space, right? And it goes back to what we talked about in participating in Washington, D.C. with the U.S. Black Chamber, but also the Urban Chamber is collaborating with the the Vegas Chamber, as well as the LVGEA, for a Vegas fly-in September. Ken and I attended last year with great results. When we learned that there was a EDA grant that was given to North Las Vegas while we were there. There was an EDA grant given to the Business Opportunity Fund, the Nevada Business Opportunity Fund organization. So while we were there, we were able to advocate for some of those things. And I know once before, and I'm going to say this, me and Ken were in DC, and a previous administration was really being skimpy on some budgets like the MBDA, the SBDC, and some of the programs that Jaron just talked about. By us talking to our congressional leaders, those things were not impacted or touched, especially globally, which came back to us locally. And so we were able to do those programs. We were able to give away grants and do trainings like Next Level, because we were there to speak on behalf of the folks here. So the Vegas fly-in, we encourage you to go to the Vegas Chamber website if you want to attend. Right now, they are like 175 participants. Ken is even blowing out last year's attendance. Last year, Ken and I went, I think it was north of 120, maybe to 150 people. Now it's like at 175 people. I talked to Paul at the chamber. And just so some of you know, I'm also a trustee on the Vegas Chamber board. which expands our network, which allows me to also assist a lot of our businesses and be in the know. See how I did that, Delisa? In the know. Look at that. So to be in the know so that you understand what's going on globally. This Vegas fly-in, if you go, come do your homework, be prepared. And if you want to come and observe or you want to come and be involved, it's all about federal legislation and how it trickles down back to our local community.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that. So we got a lot cooking, man. We got a lot coming up. I think we're getting the cane. They're pulling us off stage right now. But definitely appreciate you having me today and us having this discussion. This will definitely happen more often.
Well, I see we got give one pointer, Jaron, to people to get involved with the chamber. Like, what should they do?
Yeah, definitely. I say come, like I said, come meet us. You know, you can come see us at the office right there on Stella Lake. The staff is always available to meet with chamber members. Delisa's available. Her staff is ready to do that. But please network with us. We have monthly events. I'm not going to steal too much of Darren's thunder because I think he's going to come in and tell us about some of our upcoming events. But we have monthly events that we do where people have an opportunity to meet with us. Like I said, we're easy to get a hold of. So we're on social media. You know, our contacts are available. If anyone wants to call and connect with us and make sure that we're in the know as well.
And join a chamber with the intent that you're gonna put in work. Don't come to a chamber and then at the end of the year go, what did the chamber do for me? What did you do for the chamber and your other members so that you can get the value that you need out of it? So that's my point. Like you said, Darren Mitchell is up next, and I know he's gonna be very entertaining, very very lively, right? So the membership committee chair, do you want to do the honors, Mr. Gray? You want to introduce Darren?
Yeah, let's bring on our brother, our friend, Mr. Darren Mitchell, our membership committee chair, with some announcements.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you again to Jaron, Chair-elect Shondell, Chairman of the board, and of course, Ken and Delisa backstage, pulling the strings. I have a few announcements. I want to thank them again specifically for announcing all of the programs and different things that we have going on here at the Chamber. They mentioned Direct Connect, they mentioned Coffee and Commerce, all of our programs. And so I'm going to just very quickly go through some specific events because, again, as they mentioned, well, how do we get in contact? What do we do next? You can certainly visit us at the Chamber. You can visit us online at urbanchamber.org. But here are some other places where you can come and network with us and grow your network and grow your net worth, starting with the Healthcare Roundtable. Health is our business. I mean, if you don't have your health, what do you have? That's right, nothing. And so Quincy Branch from Branch Benefits Consultants, he's going to be, he's the president and CEO of Branch Benefits Consulting, Tuesday, July 26th. That's coming up this Tuesday, 11 a.m. And of course, the website is there on our website. I had to take my eyes off so I could see more closely. Now, Direct Connect. This is one of my personal favorite evening monthly networking events. Jaron and Shondell both said it. Come out and network with us. Whether you're a member, whether you're not a member, you definitely want to come out, network with us, and let us know you and meet you. Now, here's the thing. This event on July 28th is going to be a very, 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 very special event. So you definitely, as one of my DJ friends would say, don't meet me there, beat me there. You want to be at this event. We're going to be celebrating a lot of things. We're going to be celebrating the Chamber being around for as long as it has. We have a lot to share and celebrate and some flowers to give. So you definitely want to be at this Direct Connect Echelon Event Center on East Flamingo, 530. Now, the Global Roundtable, you have a lot of roundtables, a lot of opportunities for you to meet different people wherever your business is. And so the UCC Global Roundtable, the next one is going to be in a couple of weeks on August the 3rd, 9 a.m. You can register online again at the urbanchamber.org, urbanchamber.org. And it looks like Lori, and I do not see this, I'm not sure how to pronounce that doctor's name. And I do not want to mispronounce the doctor's name. But please, the UCC Global Roundtable is an opportunity for you to network and grow your business with some of these global movers and shakers. Now, the official grand opening. What is this? The culture and suites. All right. So official grand opening celebration on Sunday, the 7th of August at 3 p.m. on East Flamingo. So definitely, we're opening up new businesses. We're talking about small businesses, large businesses, global businesses. You definitely want to meet us at these different events where you can meet more people. Now, I already talked about Direct Connect. You definitely want to be there. That is our monthly evening networking event. But we have a morning networking event each month. The next one is going to be on August 10th. It's a Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. And we're hosting this one. Well, actually, I take that back. We're being hosted by one of my new favorite hotels on the Strip, Resort World. I had the opportunity of visiting them and checking out the facilities. We're going to have a great time at Resort World. Scott, the president of Resort World, is going to be sharing information beneficial to the business community. And then, of course, Amy with Employee NV. Definitely, you want to make sure that you're at this event because we always share great information, great opportunities for you to network. Again, building your network is a great way to build your net worth. And of course, if you want to not your personal network is one thing, but your IT network is a whole nother thing. So the IT round table, we have a lot of round tables, a lot of opportunities for you to meet business people in your field. In the IT field, we're going to be meeting by Zoom from 3:30 to 5. The next IT roundtable is coming up in just about a month on August the 17th. So again, urbanchamber.org is where you can register for all of these events. You definitely do not want to meet us there. You want to beat us there. And always check out Nevada Grow, hosted at the Community College of Southern Nevada. Grow your business with Nevada Grow. They provide and make available additional resources. Again, that's what the chamber is all about, is resources to help you grow your business. And Nevada Grow is yet another one of those resources that we give you access to help grow your business. And so with that, I'm always proud to say that here at the Urban Chamber of Commerce, I'm biased, rather. We're the best chamber in the Valley. There are dozens of chambers here, and I'm biased about the fact that ours is the best one. And one of the reasons is because at any one of our events, you're always able to find our leadership. You just saw our chairman of the board, Shondell Newsom, our chair-elect, Jaron Gray, but our president is always here leading from the front. And so it is my pleasure now to bring to the front of the stage our president, our leader, the genius himself, Mr. Ken Evans.
No pressure, no pressure at all. Thank you very much. Appreciate our membership co-chair there, Darren Mitchell. He, along with Julie Kankai, who also serves as our board secretary, always makes sure that our membership committee efforts are on point. Let me say thank you to everyone out there. Always glad to have you be part of our Urban Chamber family. In particular, one thing I want to say is thank you to all my Urban Chamber board members, Taisha Moore, Joe Cato, Jaron Gray, Shondell Newsom, for always being there to support us with your presence. In particular, I appreciate the fact that you were there to help us make this event happen today. I want to say thank you very much to all the panelists. I consider all the panelists that were there today to be not only professional colleagues, but in several instances, personal friends that I've known for a while now. So thank you to Shani Coleman at Clark County. Thank you, Ryan Smith from the City of Las Vegas. Thank you, Jared Luke from the City of North Las Vegas. And thank you, Anthony Malloy from the City of Henderson. Again, we value your participation. We appreciate the information, the insight, the expertise you shared today. Finally, last but certainly not least, I want to say thank you very much to my staff. You've all heard that saying, team together, everyone achieves more. Well, my team is no different. Believe me, today would not have happened without, first and foremost, I want to say thank you, Delisa, our operations and programs manager, who, as I like to tell people, she's the one who really runs the chamber. You know, I'm just out here out front trying to identify resources, build real relationships, as our board chair would say, and then at the end of the day, just keep things moving. So thank you, Delisa. And then individually, I want to say thank you to Rashonda Washington, Kawana Rutledge, Erica Miranda, and then more recently, we've had some interns come on board, Jalen and Jordan, and most recently, Janelle as well. So again, thank you to my team for helping to make today possible. Well, before we wrap up, or as we wrap up, I just want to leave you with a few last ideas, and most importantly, a call to action. At the Urban Chamber of Commerce, we have two priorities. The first priority is to make sure that we participate and we do our part in terms of diversifying and expanding the Nevada economy. That's the first priority. The second priority that we have is to make sure that when it's all said and done, we do our part to make sure that there's diversity, there's equity, there's inclusion when we're pursuing the first priority. So today, hopefully, what you were able to do is to get the information that you can use to find out, number one, what's going on in terms of expanding and diversifying the economy. And then number two, especially if you're a Black owned or an African American owned business, what can you do to make sure that your business participates? At the end of the day, Shondell mentioned the fact that we just got back from a School of Chamber Management conference with the U.S. Black Chambers Incorporated. I've been here nearly 9 years now, and I like to tell people I've been here nearly 9 years with a 10-year vision. Well, early on, in fact, I hadn't even been in the position more than 8 months. I went to a USBC conference, and the CEO, Ron Busby, talked about the importance, the value of having million-dollar companies. So that's been an aim of ours, is to help create million-dollar companies. Well, that comes from getting information like the information that was shared today. What's going on in terms of the regional economic development agenda, and number two, how can you participate in it? So I hope that you were able to get a lot of information today, some insight, some programs that you can follow up on. But now here's the call to action. Follow up and follow through. And know that when it's all said to do and done, within our urban chamber enterprise, we have resources that can help you ensure a higher probability of success. As we like to say, we're not saying you can't do things by yourself or make the entrepreneurial or business journey by yourself, but consider joining us, whether you do it through formal urban chamber membership or whether you do it as a non-member by accessing our urban chamber business success center. The bottom line is take action, follow up, follow through, and considering making the journey or allowing us to make the journey with you. So with that, I want to say thank you all very much. Greatly appreciated your time, your attendance. One last thing I'll mention is the fact that this has been recorded. We will figure out a way to make it available so that if you know people that you think need to get this information, whether it's in the county, North Las Vegas, or Henderson, wherever it may be, if you think they need to get the information, we'll figure out a way to share this so that they can go back and look at it at their leisure. But again, we appreciate those of you that were able to view this in real time. And with that, I'll conclude by mentioning, let me look here. Yep, there we go. I'll conclude by mentioning the fact that we'll keep the feed open for just a little bit longer because Hop-In has a networking function. So we'll keep it open for a little bit longer to the extent that people are here. But again, we greatly appreciate you. I want to say thank you on behalf of the board, the staff, the volunteers, and ultimately the members of the Urban Chamber for you participating in our annual Views from the Valley event today. Wish you all the best of success as you follow up and follow through on the information that you heard today. With that, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. And as always, be proactive, be positive, be productive, and if you're a business person, be profitable.